Mindfulness is something of a detrimental issue recently. It's the act of observing one's thoughts, as it is happening, when it encounters a moment's conjunction with external experiences, an emotional contrivance, to ask its nature. The reason why this has been detrimental over the past few years is because, despite its popularity, it's also notably intersectional in our interdiscourse, and the readiness of introspective people are not and, especially during a time when the filter so emphasizes more implicatingly self-conscious thought. It represents tension in that it was associated with the purging of it. The purpose of introspection, it should be noted, was defined rather extremely as per my own interests at the time. I have more recessive inward processing of my introspections when engaged. And the purpose of psychoanalytic self-help otherwise. Typically representing the laws demanding a more forefront observance if we are asking about its usefulness. At that, I stand by how that did not necessarily need to mean imaginations of oneself in the process of understanding where they are, need be exclusive of each other. Asking what your disturbance is, so that you may understand it, does not instantly undermine what makes up all that is in concern with your exploration. You have to be everything you are first in order to change to something else. You are the one figuring that out. Meanwhile, on the movement of time, on the psychological historical record, the intersections of perception of self and identity are at dissonance in paradigm to themselves and relative still. The way reality feels naturalizes its urgency. It would be the combination of time spent confluencing, thought having accentuating context, and violences, that immerse the interrelational aspects of identity in the way we perceive differently, and at what facets we resonate with aspects of culture. The truth is it immerses as one either way. But one will allow that momentum as a given. From what origin? That's actually something time and immersion as per itself will say. It's proclaiming at the hilts of context and concern otherwise. The grindstone of this issue was, however, violences, absolutes of thinking about nothing but thoughts misunderstood and inverting to avoid, being an Eastern to human word of a guideline of sort, by a wisdom anyways. However, by that impulse. The reflex was vehement to the interpretation of core, so to speak. And that vehemence possessed ideological reflex as well. A patriotism, a sexism, a hate towards qualities of life, whomever it is. A virtue within it. While the catalyzing element of thought already enabled perceptual contexts of it inconsistently. There was in fact all that was self-inflicting in that aim of destroying certain thoughts, by other people. I don't formally exist with a will to this. If there was ever a question about asking for second thought from people, there would have been a time when a culture offered that as alleviation from something hypersensitive, the permissive momentum of an awareness being at address afterwards. Some people may remember references to using one's mind as a mirror. But young minds at blind spot broke a bow at their perception as well. Otherwise, the forcefulness of an angst served to destroy and deformat power eventually as well, and there would have been a more neurotic vindictiveness to hide in that empowerment. This had been a large world. What people found at experiential magnitudes in the world and their relationship to it were diverse. Thought form and Eastern thought were conjunction of human authenticities. Broadness was also true of perspective and cosmological interests, of scientific nature. People were interesting then. If nothing else, reality the world over had its juxtapositions at question.